Welcome to the Frontier Forward Asia edition. I'm thrilled to bring you this special series where we spotlight incredible leaders shaping the future of business across Asia. Together with our partner executives, we'll explore bold ideas, breakthrough innovations, and collaborative spirit that drives transformation in this dynamic region. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Let's create and lead the AI frontier together.
So, good morning and welcome, Anirudh. It's wonderful to have you here with us today. As we start, perhaps I would request you to share possibly a brief introduction about yourself for our audience.
So thanks, Bhaskar, and thanks, team, for having me here. I'm Anirudh Kala. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Celebal Tech. We're a company based in Jaipur, India. We are primarily a data and AI partners with Microsoft. In fact, on 13th of October, we did complete our 9 years. We focus on Microsoft solutions to leverage their Azure AI and data capabilities, the stack available for the large enterprise, and work with these large enterprises to bring intelligence to their existing legacy applications. Now, it could be in the form of agentic, it could be form in the classical machine learning, it could be in the form of the transformer-based neural learnings, and so on and so forth, right? The idea that we started with was based on the fact that it has to be a combination of the two economies, the legacy enterprise and the modern cloud innovation. Azure happens to be the only platform, in my opinion, which has that complete stack from end to end, right? From their productivity to the ERPs, to the integrations, and of course, on top of it is that the big AI platform and the agentic platform that helps achieve that target. So here we are as a partner of Microsoft, working globally with some of the largest customers, I would say, here in this country, and then, of course, all across the globe now.
That's fantastic, Anirudh. And once again, heartiest congratulations for the 9th year anniversary and for being such a strong and committed partner to Microsoft. We did get a good understanding about Celebal Tech. Tell a little bit more about the markets that you serve and your larger vision about go-to-market, Anirudh.
We work all across the globe, Bhaskar. Of course, it starts with India. We work with some of the giants here in this space. We cover the entire ASEAN market, Australia and the New Zealand and Japan, of course. Every country has its own flavor. There are manufacturing divisions which are like very prominent in certain countries, but there are energy which are very prominent in other countries. And of course, the US and the Europe is where we cover a large portion of our customers today. I would say countries like Canada, countries like Switzerland, Germany are very big in energy and manufacturing with us. I would say US is largely real CPG and healthcare and life sciences, for the obvious reasons. And Middle East, of course, is all energy and manufacturing, I would say, to an extent, but primarily energy. So what we've done is we've actually kept not just geography focus, but geography and industry focus, specific industry for specific geography. And the fact remains, all these industries, they don't behave the same way in each geography. So we've kind of modeled ourselves in such a way that we use the Microsoft platform and run deep industry solutions with respect to that country and that industry, and very local to that geography with the local laws. Like in Europe, we have these GDPR laws. In India now, we have new laws coming in for AI. So there is a way in which you deal with AI, with data in each of these countries and domains. And I think that's where we specialize in.
Wonderful. So to me, the headline is born in India, but built for the world. And your nuanced understanding of different markets, the challenges, the opportunities, and your understanding on how to address them clearly kind of makes you stand out from everybody else. So thanks for sharing what you did. All right. So Anirudh, you mentioned about your engagements with customers and the different markets that you serve. Can I go a little bit deeper on the customer engagement side? And possibly if you could share an example of a recent impactful story, transformative win that you enabled for your customers on top of the Microsoft Cloud?
I can talk about two of our big customers, one in Canada and one in US. The Canadian customer is a law firm that is actually having this challenge of near real-time reporting. And basically in law, what happens is we understand law from a very different angle, but law on a tech perspective has a very different perspective. So there are cases, there are outcomes, there are adjustments, alignments that happens every single moment. And they want that to happen as they happen in their execution platform. And for that, they need near real-time reporting. They've been working on legacy BI solution, which takes almost a day for anything for them to be visualized for their lawyers all across Canada and even in the US. So we used Fabric to build that platform end to end. It was a bit tough choice because to integrate it with some of the systems that probably are only used in law was not something we'll find easily, let's say, with respect to the connectivity, respect to the integration. But Fabric offers that. So that was one easy choice we made. The tough part was getting execution every single second, and that too for millions of cases all across US and Canada. And that means maybe 1 million records would travel into the system and then reporting on top of it that very instant. That was possible in Fabric, and today I think I'm very happy to report that they've been able to cut down their overall execution time in terms of taking a decision by more than 60%, which is huge because that is immediate impact to their bottom line and of course to the top line. Another such use case I would say was a big manufacturer for appliances. It's a very big name all across the US, where we built this agentic solution for all their consumers using Copilots and Azure AI Foundry. It was a combination of both. Copilots because it's on their laptops, it's on their browsers. Every time they can look at their data, chat with it. And I'm not just talking about the emails, summarizer, or a simple chat outcome that they've been trying. These are serious outcomes with respect to the ERPs, with respect to the MESs, with a persona of a plant manager or a supply chain manager. And that's where we build this entire foundry layer, which could do this orchestration of personas, of integrations, and most importantly, observability and governance. Where I focus today and my company focuses along with Microsoft is on the fact that AI creating agent is commodity. LLM is commodity. Yes, we have the best of the best available in the platforms. There's no worry there, but that's not the real value. The real value, what the Microsoft AI platform offers is the observability and traceability. So as an agent gets instantiated, the ability to really ensure that it works exactly the same way a user would have envisaged. And then there's the ability to go and check every single step that it has performed is, I would say, the real differentiator for the customer. And that was possible because it's available out of the box on the Azure AI Foundry platform, right? So I think two very compelling use cases that I believe it's driving value, which is conspicuous. Of course, there's a lot of inconspicuous benefits, but there's a definite, tangible, conspicuous outcome that they're driving. So very, very happy that we could do that along with Microsoft for our customers.
Fantastic, Anirudh. And thanks so much for saying that your partnership with us is helping us scale and drive value for our joint customers. And on the same note, let's talk a little bit about our partnership. What is your experience and some of the best practices that you feel have helped you scale your business working with Microsoft?
See, we started a business with Microsoft as the only alliance partner. In fact, even today, it's like I would say more than 95% of our channel partnership that we have with any other OEM, and which means primarily it's the only partnership. What we've done with Microsoft is we've been able to really leverage the GTM channel. It used to be called as the build with and sell with motion, as we were partnering Microsoft with in the initial days. And I think where it really worked well was the industry depth that we brought in. And Microsoft is a ecosystem that was present in those organizations. So for an organization that's trying to, let's say, leverage cloud for a specific outcome, Microsoft became a very obvious choice. And it helped us cruise in those custom ecosystems just because we brought in that industry expertise on the platform. I would say the mantra that has worked really well for us is it's not just the tech, it's not just a solution that you may have for a particular kind of customers, it's the industry depth and the overall industry maturity that has really worked for us. When I say industry maturity, what it means is in a very compliant way, your ability to connect with all the legacy enterprise, give them the security layer, give them the governance layer, give them the consumption layer, the consumption of data in the BI or AI downstream applications, give them the application layer, and give it as a suite that a customer could then manifest, not just for driving an outcome, but also ensuring that every single compliance and the security, CISO, firewalls, use cases are also met, which has been, I think, a biggest differentiator in terms of pushing Microsoft Azure, because Microsoft has been present there in these enterprises, specifically Azure and now the AI platform, just because this enterprise maturity that Microsoft platform brings in.
Fantastic. Thanks for saying what you did. And we ourselves truly cherish this relationship. Your industry orientation, your solutioning depth, and your committed partnership clearly allows us to scale as well. So last question, really, Anirudh. If there's one thing that you would like to leave the audience with, what would that be?
I think there is this big careful in the market saying there's agentic, there is AI, there is whatnot. Of course, the LLMs have now probably become more commoditized. And I would say that even agents will become commodity tomorrow, right? If not today. And it's not about who's going to sell agents fast. It's going to be about who's going to create the agentic economy that is governed, that is traceable, that is explainable, and most importantly, effective, efficacious, right? If you can think on all those 4 parameters before even starting to think of an agentic ecosystem, I think that's where the world is headed. And what changed for us as a partner is, of course, the domain intelligence on top of it. So we're not just selling agents, we are selling domain agents. For example, if I go to an oil and gas industry, I would go and talk to upstream, midstream, downstream, all 3 of them. In upstream itself, I'll go to exploration production. In exploration, I'll go to lithology. And then I have a well completion agent. Now, you see, it might still be a chat summarizer. It might just still be a RAG agent with 3 or 4 tech skills. But where I've really gone deep in the domain is, in a very specific use case, how does it take the persona of a person who's, let's say, writing the well completion exercise? And how does it help that person? And the way to think AI, how do you, let's say, manifest AI in an organization is, it's going to be human and the AI. And I would say Microsoft and maybe Celebal Tech are the plus. We are the enabler. We're not AI ourselves. We are the enablers. I think that's how I would say that's the way to take, or rather manifest AI in these large enterprise ecosystems.
Wonderfully put. So an agentic economy and truly brought to life with the power of partnership between Celebal and Microsoft. Anirudh, thank you so much for sharing your insights and your amazing journey. From the Microsoft side, we wish you the very best and looking forward to scaling this partnership to completely new levels altogether. Thank you so very much.
Thanks. Thank you so much.